What is up, YouTube? This is T1, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Tim Burton's favorite movie of all time, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. By this point, Ray and producer Charles Schneer had been doing these kinds of films for over 20 years, and the enthusiasm just wasn't there from the studios anymore. While Guanji was a modest success and a great movie, in my opinion, it isn't the kind of thing that scores your next project an automatic green light. After a few years of this, Schneer was able to talk Columbia Pictures into a new movie using that thing that all of Hollywood is obsessed with nowadays, intellectual property. None of the original projects will sell? No problem. Let's resurrect one of our best movies. It's no secret that Seventh Voyage of Sinbad is my favorite film of the Harryhausen catalog, so I'm going to try not to let any biases get in the way here. Right off the bat, this is a Sinbad for a different era. It's not as bleak as Guanji, but it's still a much darker, moodier film than its predecessor. You can tell this is the same decade as Dirty Harry and The Exorcist. One other thing this movie has over some of Ray's other work is that the plot is actually pretty well constructed. There's some good mystery here. I didn't know where it was going. There's a good group of characters, and on the surface, the villain is basically a carbon copy of the last film, but Tom Baker brings a different spin on it. Kura's a creepy villain. All his monologues about the demons he serves and the cost of using magic are pretty unnerving. As for the titular sailor himself, I also quite enjoyed John Philip Law in the lead role. I want to give credit that while, yes, this is still mostly a bunch of white dudes in turbans, they at least try to make Sinbad's Arab heritage more central here. There's lots of platitudes and proverbs and references to Allah, and I appreciated that, since so few versions of the character have the balls to do it. Sinbad is a bit more laid back in this film, giving the vibe of a rock star who's doing one last tour before retiring from this shit for good. He has a line in here that I've always felt kind of summed up the whole franchise and why I've always loved the character so much.
Every voyage has its own flavor.
See, that right there, that's Sinbad to me. Each film and take on his adventures should feel distinct, like different versions of the same fairy tale. The reason he's been around for centuries is because of that versatility. I also thought the Vizier was a really unique supporting character. That golden mask design is stuck in my memory ever since childhood. As for the effects, they seem a bit scaled back for the most part. Some of them are frankly kind of underwhelming. I thought the part where the ship's figurehead came to life was pretty cool, and so was the little bat-like creature that Kura kept as a pet. The centaur felt pretty much like been there, done that, you know? None of them are bad, but maybe all of it was destined to be disappointing just for being in the same film as the Kali fight. Yeah, any of my viewers who have seen this movie before have probably been waiting for me to address everyone's favorite scene. There have been a lot of highs during this Ray Harryhausen retrospective. The octopus attacking the Golden Gate Bridge, Talos, the Emir, Guanji. But Kali is on the Mount Rushmore of Ray Harryhausen effects. Not just the highlight of this movie, but maybe the best scene in any of the Sinbad series. A sword fight with a multi-armed steampunk creature is about the most ABAP thing a movie could have.
Alright, I don't know y'all niggas know what ABAP means. Alright, ABAP means as baller as possible. ABAP. ABAP.
And hear me out on this one. A General Grievous scene exactly like this would be the fucking bomb. It's high energy, the choreography is good, and Kali, man, just the way this thing moves, it's mesmerizing. There's that dance it does before the fight even starts. I mean, without doubt, there is a lot to like in Golden Voyage of Sinbad, that being chief among them. But it does have some flaws as well. I thought it was a little slow, personally. The first act moves at a decent clip, and the end of the movie is a bonanza, but the middle portion, the voyage itself, is pretty boring. I also get that this is a darker film, so it's not going to be as colorful as the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, but there are times when it's flat visually. Not always, but enough that it bothered me. There's also a comedic character who, frankly, just annoyed the shit out of me the whole movie. It's not even especially clear why he came along. Some guy just comes up to Sinbad and is like, hey, my son's good for nothing. Maybe a voyage with you will make him a man. And now we're stuck with this asshole the rest of the film. I'm probably overselling it. He's not that major of a character, but just imagine a 17-year-old version of Short Round without any of the heart that comes with having Ki Hye Kwan in your movie. Finally, I think the fight scene between Kura and Sinbad at the end of the movie is kind of lame. He gets his Shroud of Darkness thing he's been after the whole time, but all it does is give him a cheesy invisibility effect. Golden Voyage of Sinbad is a decent movie. It's a come down from Valley of Gwangi, sure, but it's got just enough of what made that movie so good that it still makes me excited for the final era of Harryhausen. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is T Quint1 signing out.